They say some hotels have rooms you can't book. Rooms that don't exist on the system. Rooms the staff refuse to even mention. But if you're unlucky enough, you might just find one anyway. For me, that room was room 47. It all started on a routine work trip. I travel a lot for my job, mostly to small towns and forgettable corporate hotels. This one was no different, a relic just off the highway that had clearly seen better days. The carpets smelled faintly of bleach and something else, something old. The wallpaper was peeling like dead skin, and the lights in the hallway flickered, as if the building itself was tired of staying alive. When I checked in, the clerk, a young woman with tired eyes, handed me my key card. As I took it, I noticed something odd. The number printed on it was 47. I offered a weak joke. Guess I'm lucky number 47. The moment I said it, she froze. Her professional smile vanished, replaced by a flicker of genuine fear, like she'd just seen something horrifying standing right behind me. Then, just as quickly, the mask was back on. She spoke in a hushed, rushed tone. "I'm sorry, sir. That's a K. That's a mistake. You'll be in room 46. She snatched the card back and swapped it for another, her hands shaking slightly. I didn't think much of it at the time. I figured it was a computer glitch. Maybe she was new. But I should have paid more attention to the fear in her eyes. I should have just left. That night, everything changed. Around 1 in the morning, I was drifting in that weird space between being awake and asleep when a sound pulled me out of it. It was a faint, persistent static, like an old television tuned to a dead channel. Annoyed, I figured it was a neighbor with their TV on too loud. I got out of bed, my feet sinking into the musty carpet, and opened my door to the dimly lit hallway. The moment I stepped out, the sound grew clearer. It wasn't just static anymore. There was a soft humming underneath it, and something else. Whispering. Faint, indecipherable voices riding the waves of static. My curiosity got the better of me. I followed the noise down the long corridor, past the identical rows of doors, until I reached the very end. And there it was. A door where there shouldn't have been one. Room 47. There was no light seeping from under it. No "Do Not Disturb" sign hanging from the handle. Just that quiet, unbroken static, leaking through the cracks in the doorframe like a toxic gas. I don't know what possessed me. Maybe it was the late hour. Maybe just sheer stupidity. But I reached for the handle. To my surprise, it turned. The lock wasn't engaged. The door creaked open just enough for me to peer inside. The room was pitch black, an absolute void. Except for one thing. In the far corner, a small single red light was blinking steadily. A recording light. There was a camcorder sitting on the floor, aimed into the darkness, and it was running. I leaned in, my breath catching in my throat. The air that flowed out of the room was cold, unnaturally cold, like stepping into a walk-in freezer. It smelled of dust and ozone. Against my better judgment, I whispered into the darkness, "Hello." Something shifted inside, a subtle sound, a rustle of fabric in the oppressive dark. And then, instantly, the static stopped. The camcorder clicked audibly. The little red light went out. It had turned off, all on its own. A wave of pure terror washed over me. I slammed the door shut, my heart pounding against my ribs like a trapped bird. I didn't sleep a wink for the rest of the night, just sat there, staring at my own door, listening. The next morning, sleep-deprived and on edge, I went straight down to the front desk. The same clerk was there. I tried to explain what I'd seen, my voice probably sounding as frantic as I felt. I told her about the door, the static, the camcorder. She just stared at me, her face pale, her expression a mixture of pity and horror, as if I'd just confessed to some terrible crime. When I finished, she shook her head slowly and said, her voice barely a whisper, "Sir, there is no room 47 in this hotel." I didn't believe her. I thought she was covering something up. I stormed back upstairs, determined to prove I wasn't crazy. But when I got to the end of the hall, she was right. The corridor ended at my room, room 46. The wall after it was solid, covered in the same peeling wallpaper as the rest of the hotel. There was no door. No sign that a door had ever been there, but I knew. I could still feel the cold spot in the air where it had stood. That night, back in my room, I couldn't get it out of my head. I replayed every second in my mind, the whispering static, the cold air, the blinking red light. Around midnight, as I was lying in bed trying to force myself to sleep, I heard a new sound. A soft clicking. It was coming from my phone, sitting on the nightstand. The screen was on. It was recording a video on its own. The timestamp displayed an hour I hadn't set. 1:13 a.m. and through the phone speaker. Could hear it again, that faint, familiar static. Then, a whisper emerged from the noise. A voice that was both clear and distant. It said my name, my full name. My blood ran cold. I snatched the phone, my fingers fumbling as I frantically tried to delete the file. It vanished. But seconds later, it reappeared in my gallery. This time, the file was labeled room_47_final. MP4. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. I had to know. I opened it. The video was dark, but my eyes adjusted enough to make out the faint outline of a room, the same cheap carpet, the same faded walls, and in the corner, the same blinking red light. The camcorder, my phone's camera, was facing the bed. And on the bed was me. I was lying perfectly still. My eyes were wide open, staring at the ceiling. I could see the shallow rise and fall of my chest. I was breathing. Then I saw the timestamp on the video file. The date it was recorded was for tomorrow. My phone shut off by itself. The screen went black. When I finally got it to turn back on, the video was gone. Only one new file remained. It was a voice memo. My finger hovered over the play button, a deep sense of dread pooling in my stomach. I pressed play. And my own voice, strained and desperate, came through the speaker. It said 3 words, "Don't come back here." I left that morning. I didn't check out. I didn't even pack my bags. I just grabbed my keys and my wallet and drove away as fast as I could. I thought that was the end of it. I hoped it was. But last night, I received an email. There was no subject line, no sender. Just a single attachment. room_47_final. MP4. I didn't open it this time. I dragged it to the trash, emptied the trash, and shut down my laptop. But this morning, when I turned my computer back on, the file was there again, sitting right in the middle of my desktop. Still there now, waiting. I haven't clicked on it. I'm afraid of what I'll see. Or what I won't see. Thanks for watching. If you have stories like this you'd like to share, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, please consider liking the video and subscribing for more content. Stay safe out there.